So the Indiana Fever fans are furious with this signing. Absolutely furious with the fact the Fever have signed someone who appears to be a Caitlin Clark hater in Breanna Turner. I don't know how I feel about it personally, and I'm always the type of person, I don't give a damn what a person says as long as they perform on the court and they don't affect the locker room itself. Like, I think genuinely the locker room, if the locker room is good, it doesn't really matter what somebody does outside as long as they keep it inside the locker room. Just like why I had no real issue with some of the Dejanay stuff and Alyssa Smith. I was like, it doesn't seem to be affecting the locker room. But with that, Breanna Turner, Sky fans hate her. Like, there is no player the Sky fans hated more than Bree Turner, who came on a big contract, a genuinely big contract. And it was like not a good signing, but I do think had they not drafted both Angel and Camilla, she would have played a lot more. But at the same time, like, a lot of the tweets and stuff do not look good. Do not look good from Bree Turner. And, like, she has tweeted, let's be real, she tweeted about the whole, do you remember the whole, like, harassment by the journalist? Or say not by the journalist, by the paparazzi, the TMZ person, who tried to ask Kennedy Carter a question. And obviously she went and made a way bigger deal about that than it should have been. But at the same time, I'll give her the benefit of the doubt because some of these WNBA players have probably never had paparazzi around them in their entire lives. So they might think one person kind of getting in someone's face, asking them a question on the street in a public place is harassment. And do I think, like, on a personal level, the people doing paparazzi stuff is right and good? No, but, like, there's a line. If we're calling that harassment, everything harassment. And then, obviously, when Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White and these people came out and basically said at the end of the season, and Kelsey Mitchell and all these people, she was really anti-Fever. I don't think she was necessarily anti-Caitlin Clark with what she said, but she was anti-Fever when everyone was saying, like, do not platform the trolls. Do you remember kind of at the end of September when it was the we can't platform the trolls, stop platforming the trolls narrative was coming around? She came in with an opposite one, saying we need to platform the trolls. She came out on Twitter saying we needed to platform the trolls. And when somebody responded that we need to platform the trolls and call it out, and it's the responsibility of everyone to call out all this, and it's like, someone responded was like, that's the worst thing you do. These aren't people. These are literally just internet trolls that are doing it for attention. And then she basically doubled down, was like, no, you're wrong. You need to platform the trolls. And she did not say that, but, like, her general, whatever she said, effectively could be summarized in platform the trolls. And the one thing for the anti-Caitlin Clark that I have a real problem with is this right here. I have a real problem with this tweet. 1 second. So, she tweeted this. Iowa will hold a celebration to honor the NCAA runners-up. All players and coaches expected. This is Iowa to hold celebration. Respectfully, I'm confused. Is this what a runner-up typically does now? Haven't seen this before. But kudos to them for publicly honoring all they've accomplished this season. I'm confused. Is this what a runner-up does? It does if you're Iowa. I'm sorry, it does. It's like when it's a Cinderella run. Like, you don't have to win. Like, you don't understand. People do not understand. This was a team that went to back-to-back Cinderella runs. They weren't meant to be there. And that's why it's a big thing. Like, for example, if, let's just say when UMBC, the year UMBC, well, they're not quite, Iowa's not quite UMBC. Let's just say Iowa in the men's got the back-to-back championship games. They would honor the team, especially when almost all of them are seniors. They would honor the team. They would. Any team would do this for a celebration run. And by the way, this is not a parade. This is not, this is genuinely, it's not a parade. It's not a, going to the White House, Jill Biden type thing. It was purely a college wants to celebrate greatest team in the history of the college. And she comes out and goes like, why are they doing this? Runners-up shouldn't be doing this. No one would say this word if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark. You just know that. Again, I am making an assumption here. I could be wrong. And I'm willing to say I'm wrong. That is the one thing where I'm like, that's the one direct thing with Caitlin Clark. But she has essentially, like, not shown to be necessarily fully anti-Caitlin Clark, but she was definitely in the group of players that you will say are you could brand as saying anti-Caitlin Clark stuff. But all I gotta say, I don't care. I don't care. I really don't care. She's there playing for the Adelaide Lightning, and like, if you look at how she plays, she is an athletic big. Like, she is an athletic big who blocks a ton of shots. And that's it. And people are like, oh, she's a power forward. She's not. She ain't playing no power forward in the Fever offense. Like, she's an athletic big. She averages 2.5 steals per game and 3 blocks per game in Australia, which is a decent-ish level for overseas ball. Like, I know she ran that layup. She doesn't run like Temi. She's the best defensive player on this Indiana team. She's not going to score many points, but she's going to play 10 minutes a game and play defense. That's what she's there for. That is literally what she's there for. You've got Dantas, who will play not a lick of defense, but will be locked down. Sorry, but will be knocked down, not locked down. But now you got defense. And this is why she was signed. And I don't care. I mean this. I do not care. I don't care, like, what she tweets. I don't care. As long as she blocks as many shots, as long as she's as good at blocking shots in WNBA as she is at blocking people on Twitter, I don't care. And I don't think anyone should care, because at the end of the day, who cares? She knows what she's getting herself into. And yes, she has said bad things about Caitlin Clark in the past. I've always said this in WNBA. Who hasn't? For WNBA players, honestly, who has not said bad? What WNBA player has not said a bad thing about Caitlin Clark or Fever fans in the past? And I mean that. Who hasn't? You've got to look at it that way. There are so many WNBA players, and so many of them have said crap about Caitlin Clark and the Fever. There are so few WNBA players right now. And yes, in a couple of years, when you get young players in, you can definitely get a whole bunch of young players together that haven't said crap about Caitlin Clark. But for the vets, so many of them have. So many of them have. So it's like, you just want to put the best team together. You genuinely, all that matters is that the Fever put the best team together. Would it be great if every single one of them was ultra friendly and not said a bad word about Caitlin Clark or the Fever? Sure. But like, at the end of the day, the team needs a defensive-minded center. And a lot of people are like, oh, the team could get Mercedes Russell. Mercedes Russell cost the Sparks $160K. You are not getting a borderline all-defensive player big who's coming back into form, playing in Australia. Like, you're not getting an all-defensive level player in their 20s for the near minimum. You're just not. You're not. So, she's exactly what the team needs. Exactly what the team needs for cheap. And she will be playing from game one. Obviously, the Temi situation, it's not looking like they're going to bring in Temi because they've got like 30 grand left in salary, which means they literally need, for the second half of the season, which means they literally need to go and pick up somebody. I don't even know if it's possible for them to get somebody with that 30 grand of salary, but that's basically what they have to do. So with that, you've now got a situation where they've got everything they need. You've got your backup point guard in Coulson. You've got your backup wings in Cunningham and Hull and Wallace. You've got your backup bigs in Dantas and Turner now. And you've got players that do everything. You've got your big defensive players. You've got your three-point shooters off the bench. You've got your wing defenders off the bench. You've got your shirt up playing point guard off the bench. You've got your stretch big off the bench in Dantas. You've got everything. Like, you've literally got everything you need if you're the Indiana Fever with Bree Turner. Sure, Bree Turner has tweeted some questionable things about, realistically, about the Fever and Caitlin Clark. Sure. But when you're talking about the WNBA players, who hasn't? Who hasn't? So, I would rather them get a player that fits. Like, as far as playing is concerned, I would rather them get a player that fits than trying to get somebody that isn't nearly as good just because they hyped up Caitlin Clark one time. So, yeah, like, I don't think I don't think it's possible to get a better player than Bree Turner for the price you're getting Bree Turner as far as the on-court fit is concerned. And the good thing is that she's an unprotected contract, so if shit hits the fan in preseason, or she starts tweeting stuff out and stuff doesn't go well, they can cut her. Don't worry about it. It'll be grand, lads.